Hello and welcome FPL managers. Welcome to Ghono Football, and of course, গতকালকে একটা গেম উইক শেষ হয়েছে এবং আগামী কালকে আবার একটা গেম উইক শুরু হতে যাচ্ছে। সো এর মধ্যে আমরা চলে আসছি আমাদের ফুট আলোচনা দিয়ে FPL ঘন শো নিয়ে গেম উইক 22 কভার করতে। এন্ড অফ কোর্স ইটস নট লাইক দ্য ট্রেডিশনাল বা আপনারা যারা ইউজুয়ালি দেখে থাকেন যে আমরা চারজন মিলে সেখানে আলোচনা করছি, না, আজকে আমরা একটু স্লাইটলি ডিফারেন্ট ফরম্যাটে এবং আজকে শুধু আমার সাথে আছে আশফাক। আশফাক, ওয়েলকাম।
Thank you so much for having me.
Right, pleasure to have you. And of course, so let's start. And of course, it's been a kind of a strange game week. আমি জানি না ঠিক যে লুডোর একটা গানের কথা আমার খুব মনে পড়ছে আর কি, ঠিক আছে, যে এফপিএল কা হাওয়া কবি নরম কবি গরম, কবি নরম নরম কবি গরম গরম। সো আমি জানি না আসলে কোনটা আসলে তোমার জন্য কি হয়েছে, আমি আই হ্যাভ নো আইডিয়া। ফর মি ইট ওয়াজ ভেরি গরম, ঠিক আছে, because I had my two defenders not playing.
I did not play Bamford by I had 15 points on the bench. আমার এই দুঃখে মানে মানে এই যে I quit FPL yesterday, I rejoined again মানে
right, so that's what we all do, right? আমরা ম্যানেজার্সরা এটাই করি যে আমরা রিটায়ার করি এই মুহূর্তে, আবার পরের দিনে আমরা লাইক we are back with enthusiasm, right? At least you had Bamford. I sold Bamford for DCL, so
I kept Bamford because I have a lot of value attached to him. I have around 0.6 or 0.8 value attached to him. So I did not had the guts to sell him out. I thought maybe I would do a rotation thing. I would see when Bamford comes into a form বা কিছু, তারপরে maybe I could play him. It depends on his game বা কিছু, মানে জানি না। আপনি কি জানি গতকালকে একটা বলছিলেন ও কি খাইছিল গতকাল?
I think he took cocaine. He took cocaine because he felt insulted যে একজন 10 মিলিয়ন 1 মিলিয়নের একজন ম্যানেজার যদি তাকে বের করে দেয় ডিসিএল এর জন্য, তাহলে ডেফিনেটলি ইটস হার্ট ব্রেকিং, ঠিক আছে। আমি আর সহ্য পারলাম না আর কি, ঠিক আছে। এই খায় কোকেন নিয়ে, ঠিক আছে, আলটিমেটলি হি কাইন্ড অফ এন্ডেড আপ scoring 1 goal and assisting 2, so that's a good one. And আমার অবশ্যই এটা পারফেক্ট ছিল আর কি, so it's okay. So I mean this is a very strange game. আমার জন্য আরেকটা ফানি ব্যাপার ছিল হলো যে I had Mitchell on my second bench and I thought like, okay, Wolves did not score, Crystal Palace kept a clean sheet, so at least ভালো হইছে যে ক্রেসওয়েলের পাশাপাশি আমার মিচেল ঢুকবে, so which is very good, only to realize যে Mitchell didn't play. So and
আপনি তো probably এই week দুইটা ডিফেন্ডার খেলাইছেন,
right? So আমার basically দুইটা ডিফেন্ডার খেলছে, so that's that whole thing. So 3 defenders.
মানে আপনি চিন্তা করেন যে there are people who captain Sterling and vice captain Chancellor, so you can only imagine তাদের মধ্যে কি যাইতেছে।
And there are people who also had Chilwell, there are people who had Cancelo, there are people who had Stones, and there are people who also had Zuma. So sympathy and sympathy. Condolences. Right. Anyway, but let's not dwell in the past, and this is going to be a slightly different way of doing things. So FPL managers, what we are going to do first, we are going to talk about fixtures, and then we are going to talk about hot topic, jeta, and then we'll look into some players, and we are going to just have a normal conversation today. So stay with us, and of course, I'm sure you're going to love this conversation. But before we start the conversation, let me just tell you one thing, which I always do, and of course, that's please do subscribe to our channel because আমরা regular content করছি. We are not trying to miss out. And of course, একদিনের গ্যাপ হলেও আমরা আমাদের কন্টেন্ট নিয়ে আসছি আর কি, যতটুকু পারি, যতটুকু করা সম্ভব। And of course, আমাদের ফেসবুক পেজ এবং টুইটার অ্যাকাউন্ট and ইনস্টাগ্রাম অ্যাকাউন্ট ফলো করতে পারেন। So yes, let's move on and let's start with the fixtures first. So fixtures, take it away, Ashfaq.
So first of all, I'm going to start off with the easy fixtures that we should focus on a weekend. My first choice is the Burnley versus Manchester game. Burnley versus Manchester game last was a high scoring game. I think last season, traditionally Burnley, Manchester City has their way with Burnley. It's Burnley at home. অনেকে মনে করতে পারে যে Burnley probably has a bit of a solid ground to probably block Man City in some way, but given their premium assets like Chancellor and Sterling were benched, we fully expect them to start the next game. সেক্ষেত্রে Burnley versus Manchester City has been traditionally the high scoring game. Last এই সিজনে অন্য ম্যাচটাও I think was a 5-0 win. তো সেক্ষেত্রে if you have Sterling or Chancellor, do not sell them out, do not push them out. I think this is the game that they will again give some good points. My second game to focus on would be obviously the Liverpool versus Brighton game. Salah has finally come to form. Memes has been going on regarding with Salah's face, with his celebrating. What's the first rule of FPL? First rule of FPL.
If you're in doubt, always captain Salah.
If you are in doubt, always captain Salah, or never drop Salah, or always pick Salah. First rule of FPL. A few years ago, the first rule of FPL was Aguero. Now it's Salah. So at some point, Salah will deliver. That is the kind of player Salah is. And I think he was still getting chances the other games which he was not scoring. And finally, he put away his chances. So Salah is again a very good pick a weekend. Mane is injured, so I fully expect Salah to play again. And given his tremendous form against West Ham, he could have had a hat-trick even. So I think he has the capacity to put up a good score. In fact, I think Salah will be the captaincy favorite a weekend.
Right.
My final game to consider is the Leeds versus Everton game. Not from a defensive perspective. এটার কারণ হচ্ছে গিয়ে যে I bought in, like a lot of managers এই week বলতে last week I bought in Everton assets. People I know, DCL has been one of the most popular Everton assets to bring in. Then I know people, Nazmul bhai, if you're watching, আপনাকে বলতেছি যে আপনি রড্রিগেজ নিয়ে যে কান্নাকাটিটা করছেন ইত্যাদি হ্যান চিন্তা করেন না, রড্রিগেজ আপনাকে পয়েন্টস দিবে, সামনে হোক আগে হোক. That's the kind of player Rodriguez is. So the thing why I'm considering Everton is because Leeds traditionally plays a very high line defense. So I think Everton has the firepower with James and Digne to put in some crosses, or DCL to get behind, or Richarlison to get behind the Leeds defense and score some goals. So I think it might be a high scoring game, but I fully expect this time around for Everton to score. And I have high hopes for DCL in this case. So that's the three fixtures of focus for me.
Right. So for me, I'll start with the Newcastle versus Crystal Palace one. And why I said Newcastle versus Crystal Palace one is because I think this is a very interesting fixture, in a sense that Crystal Palace আসলে বিগত গেমিক 8 থেকে এখন পর্যন্ত মনে হয় শুধুমাত্র 4টা টিম আছে যাদের সাথে আলটিমেটলি কোনো ধরনের গোল খায়নি স্ট্রাইকারদের কাছ থেকে। সো এখন পর্যন্ত গেমিক 8 থেকে যতগুলো টিম ক্রিস্টাল প্যালেসের সাথে খেলেছে প্রত্যেকটা টিমই গোল করেছে, শুধু 4টা টিমের স্ট্রাইকাররাই শুধু ক্রিস্টাল প্যালেসের সাথে গোল করতে পারেনি। অফকোর্স ক্রিস্টাল প্যালেস ইজ স্লাইটলি অন আ হাই হর্স, কারণ তারা উলসের সাথে আলটিমেটলি কি বলে what do you call it, clean sheet রাখছে, but anyway that's one of the points. And I think with Wilson, of course, যেহেতু Wilson is on form, so most likely Wilson is definitely going to score. But there is also another fact that আমি যেটা মনে আসতেছে না আমার এই মুহূর্তে, I think Wilson scored 2 goals, I think, if I remember. No, I think it was a goal and an assist. It was a goal and assist against Crystal Palace in game week 9 or 10. And I don't remember exactly, but I think it was game week 9 or 10 যেখানে Crystal Palace's সাথে ultimately Wilson scored a goal and an assist. So that's another point. So it's basically a replay of that fixture. So যার কারণে আমার মনে হয়েছে যে because Wilson has come back to form again, এবং তখন কিন্তু গেম উইক 10 এ বা 9 এর দিকে যখন এই গেমটা হয়েছিল তখন কিন্তু উইলসনের FPL এর ইনভলভমেন্ট ছিল, গোল ইনভলভমেন্ট ছিল প্রায় 95%. So basically তখন most of the goals, 95% of the goals were being scored by Wilson. So getting into that form, আর যেহেতু আমরা গত খেলাটা দেখেছিলাম আর কি, সো আমার মনে হচ্ছে যে like Wilson could have had more. I think these 2 goals were actually less. So basically she easily hat-trick এবং তার বেশি করতে পারতো. So yeah, that's an interesting fixture to target. So if you have Wilson, hold it. If you're planning to get in a transfer or get a striker in, I think it's a good time to get Wilson in, because yeah, their fixtures, Newcastle's fixtures are also looking good. Current next game holo of course Southampton সাথে, but after that their fixture gets a little bit difficult with Chelsea and Man United, of course. So I'm not sure. But anyway, I don't have Wilson, so I'm worried about that game. The second game that I'm looking at is Leicester versus Fulham. I think this is going to be another interesting game. Fulham should not be taken lightly again. Just a reminder to everybody, Fulham ke lightly na নেওয়ার জন্য. And I think Leicester is a bit unpredictable at times. যখনই আমরা আসলে লিস্টারকে এক্সপেক্ট করছি, আমি যেটা দেখলাম যে লিস্টারকে আমরা যখনই এক্সপেক্ট করি যে ক্লিন শিট বা ভালো কিছু করবে, তখনই লিস্টার আসলে kind of disappoints
So
you.
on that note, I guess based on the recent game week's performance, the last 2-3 game weeks performance, I don't think there is one team or two, three team that can be taken lightly, because even on a Sheffield versus City's game, Sheffield was excellent, and Sheffield came out with the win against United. So even West Brom is getting goals as well, and Fulham has been good, very good defensively. So I don't think it's a personal opinion. I don't think there's a single team that you can focus on. Because he's playing this team, but so I'll this is the weaker opposition, but so I'll give the captaincy to him. But so I don't think there's a such one team right now. Because
Exactly.
Even
Exactly.
the lower team, the lower ranked teams are putting great performances.
Exactly the point that I was trying to touch upon, and I think that's you hit the nail on the head, to be honest. So this is why I'm saying, so don't target Fulham. But যেটা হচ্ছে যে আমি লিস্টারের ক্ষেত্রে যদি বলি, Leicester is particularly a bit strange when it comes to playing with lower teams. So যে উইকে আসলে আমরা লিস্টারকে এক্সপেক্ট করি যে তারা গোল কনসিড করবে, তারা গোল কনসিড করছে না। যেমন গেম উইক 19 এর কথা যদি আমরা চিন্তা করি, nobody expected James Justin to keep 2 clean sheets in game week 19. But everybody expected Leicester to keep clean sheet on game week 20 and to game week 21. But that just the opposite happened. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like when they are playing with weaker opponents, somehow they are conceding and not being able to score as many as we expect them.
And just like everyone expected Everton to score against Newcastle.
Exactly. So this is also happening with Everton, to be honest. So that's another game, but I think that there's going to be plenty of goals in that game, to be honest. Plenty of goals. When I say, I mean at least 3 to 4 goals in total. So expect.
So one other point I want to make about Newcastle is like Newcastle was very attackingly very good against Everton. মানে যারা খেলাটা দেখছেন, আমি যেমন personally খেলাটা দেখছি. So what Newcastle did was they shifted out of the traditional back 5 and moved to a back 4 and played kind of a 4-4-1-1 formation with Fraser behind Wilson. So right. I think based on that formation, I think it leaves them a bit defensively exposed. But on an attacking point of view, I think they had one of their best games last game, personally speaking. So I'm not sure if Steve Bruce will keep this formation for the upcoming games or not. But if they can continue, Newcastle is a good Wilson or Newcastle is a good option for getting some cheap attacking players. For example, right. Initially in the season or the later half of last season, Saint Maximin was a great choice, and he had a cameo in the last game. I think Saint Maximin looked very lively, so that is something you want to take notice of or take some points on.
No, that's a fair point. There's another point that I want to talk about Leicester versus Fulham. Basically, game week 22 এর সমস্ত, I mean, this is not just Leicester versus Fulham. Game week 22 এর সমস্ত fixture is basically the replay of game week 10. So game week 10 এ যে খেলাগুলো হয়েছিল তারই replay কিন্তু এখন is game week 2. এবং if you go back to game week 10, you'll see Leicester was actually beaten by Fulham 2-1. So that's another point to, again, it's another reminder that don't take Fulham lightly. and Fulham back then was called the Weeping Boys. So basically তাকে আমরা টার্গেট করছিলাম ওই সময় যাতে তার আমরা বেশি এফপিএল পয়েন্টস পাই বা ওই ধরনের প্লেয়ারকেই নেই যারা ফুলহ্যামের সাথে খেলছে। But then Fulham ended up beating Leicester 2-1 in Game Week 10. So that is the replay of this match, and the match was at Leicester's home. So basically, it was at King's Power Stadium. So that's another fixture that I wanted to talk about, and the score was I think 2-1. So there were 3 goals involved already. So that's another one. The another match that I was talking about is of course Aston Villa versus West Ham, and I think this is going to be a very cagey one. Aston Villa's defense solid. West Ham's defense is also very solid. So I don't expect too many goals to come out in this one, to be honest. And of course, the last match also, this was 2-1 again, where I think Aston Villa won it. So, yeah. So that's another one. Yeah. So I'm not going to touch upon Liverpool. I mean, I'm not going to touch upon Tottenham versus Chelsea because I just really don't see any outstanding people from an FPL point of view, at least, doing very well in this fixture. Any point on that, Ashfaq?
Yeah, Tottenham versus Chelsea, I'm not considering because of other reasons completely. First of all, based on recent performances, Spurs has been very inconsistent, and last game I think they looked a bit clueless without Kane. I don't think Son has been getting the delivery, and he misses Kane's creative input. So that is why I don't think can really consider any Spurs assets right now because of their inconsistent form. Chelsea is a bit different because I still am keeping an eye on Tuchel's formations and what players he chooses, who is his first choice striker, who is his first choice wingers, his first choice left back. Based on the first game, everyone thought his first choice left back was Chilwell. We saw that he is not. Again, this is Alonso. Next game, again, if Chilwell plays, it throws the whole matter into another whole discussion, etc. So everyone thought Timo Werner would start immediately. He did not. He was benched the first game. He started the next game. Hudson-Odoi has been playing right wing back. Well, I think that Reece James was the best choice for that. I don't know why he's playing Hudson James. So based on his first choice group of players who he prefers, the jury is still out. So that is why I'm not still considering Chelsea assets, but in the near future, I might consider their defensive assets based on the next 1 or 2 games to get an idea of what his first choice players are. I have my eye on Rudiger. Rudiger is very good priced at 4.5. Although he might not get any attacking returns, Rudiger price point is very good, very good.
Right. So we'll be talking a lot about defenders. So we'll get back to that point again that you just mentioned.
Right.
I think
and lastly, the Manchester versus Southampton game. Again, I think this will be a tricky match for Manchester. আমাদের last গেমটা যেটা ওদের সাথে fixtures ছিল, popularly known now as the Cavani game. So I don't think it will be easy for United. United has been a bit inconsistent in their form. I don't think people will be considering giving the captaincy to Fernandes this match. I'm pretty sure of it because of their inconsistent form, etc. Fernandes usually does better away from home than at home. This is at home to Manchester. So I think this is going to be another maybe a low-scoring game. But I will be keeping an eye on Ings though. Ings is someone, if he can just keep his fitness, he will score goals, no doubt about it.
Right. I agree. And I think it's a very difficult call, to be honest. With Manchester United's form at home, I'm finding it a difficult game to call, to be honest. No, but that's another another important point that you made was the Tottenham versus Chelsea, particularly Tuchel's formation and everything. আমাদের মনে সবসময় আমাদের একটা বেসিক জিনিস মনে রাখা উচিত যে সেটা হলো যে কখনো আসলে কোচদেরকে সেকেন্ড গেস করার। I mean আমরা অলরেডি ট্রাই করেছি পেপকে গেস করার, we failed miserably. আমরা অলরেডি ক্লবকে গেস করার চেষ্টা করছি, we failed miserably. FPL ম্যানেজারদের আসলে কাজই হলো গেস করা আর কি, ঠিক আছে? But let's not.
But no one beats Pep, bhai. No one beats
Exactly.
Pep.
No one
Pep
beats
is
Pep. I mean, he's
no
a
one beats
genius,
Pep.
right? He's a genius when it comes to this. I mean, but I mean, again, যেটা হলো যে ultimately 3-4 games, let's start to watch Chelsea. Let's see who at least get a sense, like, যে প্রথম main 11 আসলে basically কারা.
Right. For example, the first match, I thought from now on Giroud will be the main striker. Then suddenly in the next match, Tammy is starting. So, it still needs to be seen who his preferred players are. I think Tuchel is still experimenting on the team.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. No,
it
but
will take some time to get his preferred bunch of players, preferred playing 11.
but
It will take
that's
some
a
time.
very fair point, to be honest. I mean let's just think it from a human point of view, right? আমরা যদি ওর জায়গা থাকতাম তাহলে আমরা কি করতাম? সাধারণত আমরা কি করি, যদি আমরা যদি একটা জায়গায় নতুন জায়গায় যাই, you start talking to everybody, you start
রাইট আর এটা রাইট
decide, right?
এবং এটাও চিন্তা করতে হবে যে এটা কিন্তু টুশেলের আপনার ইটস নট আ রেগুলার সিজন, হি ইজ কামিং ইন দ্য মিডস্ট অফ এ সিজন. He was the coach of some and coach of team elsewhere, so he did not have the background, or he did not have the background of the team itself, or he did not have enough training sessions, or he did not have a preseason to get
Right.
to know the players.
Exactly.
So he actually does not know what each player's qualities are,
True.
or what he is good at. So he's playing them and experimenting and seeing them as they go.
এক্স্যাক্টলি, সবাইকে না দেখে আসলে যাচাই করাটা যেটা ডিফিকাল্ট আর কি যে কোনো মানুষের ক্ষেত্রে। সো আমার মনে হয় টুকেল ইজ ডুইং এক্স্যাক্টলি দ্য সেম থিং, সবাইকে দেখছে, যাচাই করছে কার কোনটা স্ট্রেংথ আছে, এন্ড দেন দে উইল ডিসাইড এক্স্যাক্টলি, then he might decide as to what his best
Right.
option is.
I fully thought that Pulisic is gonna start because Tuchel is one of Pulisic's most favorite coaches. When
Right.
Pulisic was
Debut.
in Dortmund, did Pulisic start last game? I don't remember.
He did.
He did.
Yeah, he did start.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move to the next discussion. We had quite covered up. So এখন যেটা আসলে যেটা দেখছি আর কি, so it's the hot topic we are going to discuss, and the hot topic is basically, is it time to go off template and go for differential picks instead? And this is a particularly interesting topic কারণ আমরা game week 19 এ দেখছি যে like, okay, majority of the big people kind of to an extent delivered. Of course, Mane, I'm saying Salah and Fernandes didn't really deliver so much on game week 19. But game week 20 and 21 আমরা দেখলাম যে like, not all big hitters are giving up. I mean, delivering according to the expectations, let's say, right? So if that is the case, what do we do? So is it time to really go differential? What's your take on that?
So actually what we have seen in recent game weeks, the popular assets such as Son or Fernandez has not been performing. So actually based on ownership বা কিছু, I think Son is still the most owned player in FPL. So based on that, actually because there is not, the popular players are not performing as they should be. So I think this is a time for you to move out of the template games or the must picks, because it's such an open season this season. There have been so many different players at the top and different teams at the top at the league. So I think this is the best time for anyone to experiment a bit on their team, do some analysis of their own, and pick some different teams, because it's the best time to move up the ranks with your team, because the popular assets are not performing. This is the best time to do it. So what we are going to do is probably we're going to discuss from different defenders or midfielders or forwards, which ones, some samples from which ones you can pick.
Right, exactly. No, we'll do that. And what I was thinking is like, what would be the reason for people to get back from the template and go differential? Why would people কেন মানুষ টেমপ্লেট ভেঙে একটা টিম বানাইছে, ঠিক আছে, যেখানে গ্রিলিশ আছে, সন আছে, ফার্নান্ডেস আছে, সালা আছে? Why would people give up on that and then go? Because এখন আমরা হট করে দেখছি, যেটা আমরা সালার ক্ষেত্রে দেখলাম, যে like Salah is suddenly back in form again. He scored 2 goals. Now everybody's talking about Salah. 6 game blank করার পরে ultimately he has delivered, right? So this might happen again with Bruno Fernandes. So কেন আমরা ultimately template ভেঙে তাহলে differential পিকে যাব? What would be the incentive behind it?
Because at the end of the day you will see what the template team was. বেশিরভাগ সবার ক্ষেত্রে template team was, they had probably Kane, they had probably Kevin De Bruyne, they had probably Sterling. So what you are seeing, je template teams when Kevin De Bruyne is injured, suddenly you have a wealth of options in terms of money. When you are transferring out a player like Kane or Kevin De Bruyne, suddenly you have a wealth of money, and there is no like-for-like replacement for either Kane or De Bruyne. There is no replacement for Kevin De Bruyne in the City team, like-for-like replacement. Gundogan was a good option. People who invested Gundogan immediately got some good returns with his 2 goals. But last match আমরা যেটা দেখছি সেটা হচ্ছে Gundogan played much more deeper. One of the reasons why Gundogan played a bit deeper was because they played with a recognized striker, which means that the spaces which would allow Gundogan to move forward was already occupied by Jesus. So এই ধরনের কিছু issues বা কিছু আছে. But the point I'm trying to make is that because there is fund freed up, suddenly you have a ton of options, and FPL managers যেটা সাধারণত দেখা যায় যে instinctively they don't want 8 millions or 10 millions lying around in their banks. It's a common instinct. It's a common tendency. Oh, I have 10 million in my bank. Yeah, I must invest in someplace else. I'm not spending enough. I'm not spending money enough. So this happened for me as well. Because I had tons of money, I actually had 5 playing midfielders and 3 playing forwards, which means I had to bench someone. So based on form, I benched Bamford. Look where it got me. So the point I'm trying to make is that because it frees up so much funds, you have tons of options and there is no like-for-like replacements. So the template team does not exist anymore.
Right.
The template teams which you were gonna take was actually occupied by maybe Kevin De Bruyne or Kane, because they are injured and Sterling is benched once in a while. People does not have the same confidence in Sterling anymore. The template team does not exist. So you have a wealth of options. You have in budget strikers, you have Antonio, you have Bamford, you have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you have Ings. Which one would you take? In midfield, you have Gundogan. In midfield, you have Maddison. In midfield, you have Barnes. In midfield, you have Grealish. In Rafinha, which one will you take?
Exactly.
So these are the things that you should consider, really, to move up the ranks or something like that. Because from now, this point on, because of their respective injuries to Kane and Kevin De Bruyne, I think the teams would be very much different. Like the teams won't be similar anymore. As a result, it's gonna be a more open competition.
Exactly. And when there is chaos, there is always opportunity in FPL. That's what I believe, and I like the way it is. I mean, it's good to hear from you, by the way, talking about differential picks, because that's what I do. That's how I play. আমি সবসময় differential নিয়ে খেলি. I don't like template, and now it's kind of suiting my environment. So let's see if I can thrive.
This is the first big risk I took, and by in risk in my terms, my point of view, I benched Bamford and look where it got me. আমি almost কাইনা দিছি 15 পয়েন্ট দেখা। But হ্যাঁ, এটা আসলে এটা কোকেন বাদে সম্ভব না। এটা must have been cocaine.
Must have been cocaine. Must have been steroids, let's say. But anyway, no, these are just rumors and gossips, and
this is just banter, just fun.
This is just banter. FPL managers, so don't take this kind of seriously that he was involved in anything. No. Anyway, but this going into the differential pick, I think this is a nice segue for our next topic. which is we are going to look at some of the differential picks from the defenders section, from the midfielders section, and from the forward section. And of course, we are also going to talk about captains. So let's go into the defenders sections first. So here are a couple of, let me just show you the slides. So here are a couple of defenders that I thought are like, kind of very differentials, and we see their last 6 matches stats. So you see Target. Now, Target is interesting because his price is 4.7. He's playing for Aston Villa, and he's selected by 6.8% of the people. And he has been scoring about, I think he scored 19 points or 17 points in game week 19. And also in game week 20, he was very much quite a high.
He got a lucky clean sheet.
Whatever it is, but still he got it. I mean, and আমি এখনো পর্যন্ত বুঝলাম না যে why people
he was subbed before Villa conceded the goal.
Well, a bit of luck is always involved in FPL. That is true. So let's just, but আমি যেটা logically আমি যদি চিন্তা করি যে কেন মানুষ টার্গেটকে নিচ্ছে না, I don't understand that. Because he plays for Aston Villa. Aston Villa is keeping clean sheets, right? They're defensively solid. Target is attacking. He's making lots of crosses.
I think the reason I have a theory behind that. You'll see that one of the most popular FPL assets this season is Martinez. Right. So a lot of managers already has Martinez. So I don't think they are considering Villa double up in that case. Right. So Target is overlooked in that case.
Right. No, I definitely. I mean, that's a very fair point. To be honest, that's a very, very good point, to be honest. But in game week 19, he got 12 and 6. And then he got 4 points against Burnley on game week 20. And then he got 6 points against Southampton. So basically, if you had picked Target in your wildcard, if you played or in your free hit team that you played, or whichever chip that you used during game week 19, and if you picked Target, well, you would have got a lot of points. That would have been, I mean, how many? 18 plus 10, 28 points over 4 game weeks. But yet he's team selected by 6.8%. So there is still opportunity. And I mean, Aston Villa's fixtures are good. They play, I think, West Ham, Arsenal, and then they play what? Brighton, and then they play Leicester, of course.
They still have excellent fixtures up until game week 30.
Right, right.
And you have to consider they still have the double game week coming up.
Exactly, exactly. And there's a possibility for their triple up as well. So we never know. But of course, we are not saying that it's going to happen. But anyway, then there is Digne. Okay, I understand Digne, and I'm not going to talk about Digne too much because Digne was injured and everything. But look at him. Since his last 6 matches, I mean, 10 chances created, minutes per...
All these stats just to give 1 point.
All these stats to just give you 1 point. Right. I mean, that's a collective failure of the Everton defense, but that was pretty unlucky, to be honest. But irrespective of that fact, I mean, 3 assists is not bad at all. It's not bad at all. I mean, even Keane, he's also 5.3 and he's kind of 5.1. So that's another player that you can consider from Everton. Castagna is back in the folds again. And he was very popular at the beginning of the season. Then he got injured. Then he's back again. And now people are kind of discarded him completely. Like, like Castagna chini na tomake arki type. It's like chaka khaya arki, mane preme chaka khaise arki erokom type acharon. Karon it's look at his team selected by it's 4.9%. And I just don't understand why. Dyer, okay. You had Dyer, right?
I did. And I thought he was one of the safest picks in the Spurs defense. Probably exactly. The safest pick in the Spurs defense, but apparently he was not.
Exactly. So no, that's Dyer for you. So Ashfaq has...
One small information about Castagna. Castagna is injured at the moment. Brendan Rodgers has said they're waiting on a scan because to know the extent of the injury. So good news about the FPL managers is another differential is back, as in Pereira is
Ricardo
back.
Pereira.
Ricardo Pereira is back, which means likely that Justin will move to left back and Ricardo Pereira will move to his preferred right back position. And we all know that Pereira has been devastating in terms of attacking returns in the last 2 seasons. So that is another great differential if you want to consider Pereira as well. Although
Right.
he's not cheap,
No,
not cheap.
no, he's not cheap. No, he's not cheap. No. And then there comes Ben Mee, scoring 2 goals over the last 2 game weeks. And yet he is just 1.7. And I just don't understand. Burnley is as solid as ever. Fixtures looks good. And they're just,
Regarding investing in Burnley defense, I think people flock to more cheaper alternatives like Peters and Loughton. And if they want to get someone actually who will deliver them points, they go for Pope. Although Pope, I still think is expensive.
I do believe Pope is expensive. But I mean, I don't know why people are going for Lawton, to be honest. I understand the cheap point. But to be honest, Lawton never gives you BPS. He's never in the bonus
No,
system. I mean, if it is Charlie Taylor, I understand because he's the kind of chief chances creator, crosser, and everything. So he's always in the bonus points. But when it comes to Lawton and when it comes to Peter, who hardly plays, I don't understand why people would go for it. But rather, it's always me, Tarkowski, and Charlie Taylor who are always in the bonus points, or it's either Pope. So if you're really looking for the cheapest option and the best attacking option from Burnley, it's Charlie Taylor, who's currently injured. So the other obvious option would be me, because I mean he's in a form of his life. He's really defending well. He's kind of at the bonus points and he scored 2 goals. And yet he's 1.7% team selected by. Very strange. And I think we are kind of overlooking. আমার মনে হয় আমরা একটু ওভারলুক করছি আসলে টু অ্যান এক্সটেন্ট। আর আমরা ওই যেটা বললাম যে টেমপ্লেটের দিকে সবাই দৌড়াচ্ছে আর কি, যে সবসময় যেদিকে আওয়াজ উঠতেছে আর কি সেদিকেই সবাই যাচ্ছে আর কি। Whereas some of these people are kind of going under the radar and doing very well. এবং these are the kind of people who will get you over to. And look at him, he scored 67 points in the season still. So which is quite.
and he had a late start to the season as well.
Exactly. The another interesting point, those of you who have Chilwell and of course who have Zuma, and of course shout out to Nazmul again for his Zuma owner.
ওনার এখনো জুমা আছে?
না ছিল সে একজন Zumaর one of the first earlier Zuma owners, let's say. So for people like Nazmul যাদের Zuma আছে আর কি এখনো, ঠিক আছে, if you're looking for an option, I think Rudiger is a very cheap option. He looks to be quite set and he's been performing well. I'm not guaranteeing about what do you call it, আমি কোনো গ্যারান্টি দিব না আর কি এই ক্ষেত্রে যে তাকে রোটেট করা হবে না, বা টুকেল আসলে তাকে নিয়ে কি করবে। But yeah, if you're looking for a Chelsea cheap options, Rudiger is a good option. Holgate and Fofana, there's another player. I mean, Fofana, I'm not going to talk about Holgate too much because I think he's still quite pricey. গত সিজনে তার 4.5 ছিল।
Yeah, and he's not first choice anymore. With Seamus Coleman back in the fold, Holgate isn't first choice anymore. So first choice centre backs are still Keane and Minia, and Holgate was playing at right back. But since Seamus Coleman has come back, he's not first choice anymore. So
exactly.
that's the.
So the another player that is really coming to my attention is Fofana. সবাই আমরা মনে করছিলাম তাকে হলো।
This is interesting because this is homage to Leicester's scouting network, because they had such an excellent defender last season in Soyuncu.
Right.
And this season, because of this, what is his age? His age is 19?
19.
Or he's 20.
19.
Because of this 19-year-old's performances, Soyuncu does not get a game. Even when now he's past fit. We all remember how excellent Soyuncu was with Evans last season. And for this 19-year-old, Soyuncu does not get a game. This is
and it's up to Fofana to lose the place. It's up to
exactly. So this is homage to Leicester's, scouting network, the gems that they unearthed with, Justin and Fofana and I don't know.
But their scouting network has always been good. Riyad Mahrez, Jamie Vardy. Look at them.
Well, Vardy is the best example for anything, I guess.
Look at them. I mean, even sorry, what's his name? Kante. Look at
Yeah.
NDD. Even. My goodness.
And Danny
It is
Drinkwater had the
Danny
best
অনেক টাকা
best
বিক্রি করে।
best season of his life when he was at Leicester as well. He was in fact England national for a brief time, brief
Yeah,
kind of time.
yeah. Or Harry Maguire, for example. That's a
Harry Maguire.
yeah. So yeah, hats off to their scouting team. And the last player that I really want to touch upon, of course, fresh from what we saw yesterday against Liverpool, is Dawson. Ashfaq, congratulations on suggesting that player, to be honest.
I did. And what did you say? And what did you say?
I said, what on earth? What on earth?
You said what on word? Why?
What on earth? Why? Right. No, it was an error on my part because আমি মনে করছিলাম ও আসলে regular না. I somehow confused that Balbuena will get back his place. But Dawson is showing the form he was showing. He showed when he was playing for West Brom a couple of seasons ago. And I think that is the Craig Dawson that we know. At least যারা আমরা অনেকদিন ধরে খেলছি আর কি FPL. So we will know definitely Craig Dawson why he's good and how good he is. And look at his team selected by 0.4%. So if you had Craig Dawson over the last 2 game weeks and he scored those 2 goals, your rank would have shot up by God knows how many thousands. So yeah, those are the defenders that you can still target, who have good fixtures, who are still very cheap, and who have very limited selections. So FPL managers, it's up to you, of course, to decide, but those are the suggestions I have. But anyway, let's move to the midfielder section. And Ashfaq, it's yours. Take it away.
So midfield section, I guess, first of all is Mane. Because when Salah's drought was ongoing for 6 games, etc., so Mane was delivering. But we saw Mane is now injured, so we don't have an information of how serious the injury is. And because the game week is the difference in days between the game weeks is so less, I don't think there is much of a chance of Mane featuring in the game against Brighton as well. But Mane is a good differential choice, and with the fees or the money freeing up from the I don't know, KDB or Kane pick, if you have either in your team, Mane can be a very good option.
Provided he's
Moving
fit.
on to he is.
Provided he's fit.
Provided he's fit. Yes, provided he's fit. I don't think he will be, because the game difference between the games is so less, and I don't think Klopp will take a chance on him regarding starting.
Right.
Not to aggravate a long-term injury instead.
Exactly.
So moving on to Rodriguez. Rodriguez is back. এই গেমের আগের গেমটা we saw what a wonderful goal he scored with his weaker foot. So that gave the basically that gave the opportunity for people to invest more again in him. এভারটনের শুরুর দিকের ফর্মটা সবাই এক্সপেক্ট করছে এখন রিক্রিয়েট করবে উইথ देयर গুড পিকচার্স এন্ড রড্রিগেজ weekও বলছি বা এই উইকেও বলছি our understanding was DCL when he lost his form between game week 10 and game week 20 যখন ওই সময় he had a drought of goals or performances etc. that coincided with both Rodriguez and Digne getting injured. So now that they're both back, the expectancy is that both of them will deliver the crosses or the deliveries for DCL or someone up front to score goals, even Richarlison to score some goals. So Rodriguez is I think I think he's slowly showing the form which caused us to invest in him in the beginning of the season.
True.
Harvey Barnes নতুন কিছু এই মুহূর্তে বলার নাই. Harvey Barnes again, when he plays as a midfielder, he almost plays as forward as a striker. He had the most amount of shots over the last 6 matches, that is 7. He always has an eye for goal. He's always shooting inside the box. He has the most amount of goals in the last 3 games, most amount of assists in the last games. I'm actually kind of a bit regretting not picking him over Madison. I picked Madison. So Harvey Barnes is actually playing or delivering instead of Vardy, where Vardy was supposed to be delivering. FPL managers, if you have not invested in Barnes, or you are considering a Leicester asset to bring in, do not invest in Madison. Bring in Barnes. Now that I've said that,
I would just like to say that you didn't watch our whom to pick, and that's a mistake that you made, because আমরা এই কম্পারিজনটা করছিলাম যেটা আমি আর পারভেজ.
No, I made a call very uncharacteristic of me. After the double game week, I made an early transfer.
Right.
I was so impressed by Madison's game in the games. I thought Barnes wasn't a sure starter. I thought he would be rotated, and I was very, very impressed with Madison's game. He's on set pieces. He's putting out his chances. He's playing very up front. He's playing forward. So I was so impressed by the guy's game that I made an early transfer. I took a minus hit and I bought in Madison. Then I found out that KDB was injured, and I did not want to get a -8. So I relied on my bench for KDB, which is Mitchell. Mitchell gave me 1 or 0, I don't remember. I almost took in Gundogan, which I again regretted not getting him in earlier. So that really did not work out for me. I had a very good double game week, but after that, it has been downhill.
So this is why I'm telling you again, যারা আমাদের আসলে হোম টু পিক যদি দেখতো এপিসোড 11, যেখানে আমরা বেসিক্যালি ম্যাডিসন, আমি আর পারভেজ বেসিক্যালি ম্যাডিসন আর বার্নসের কম্প্যারিজন করেছিলাম, প্লাস গুন্ডোগান এন্ড স্টার্লিং এর কম্প্যারিজন করেছিলাম। প্রাইসের ক্ষেত্রে যদিও তাদের অনেক আকাশ জমিন পার্থক্য ছিল, বাট আমরা তারপরে এই কম্প্যারিজনটা করেছিলাম কারণ পিপল ওয়ার অ্যাকচুয়ালি সেলিং কেডিবি to go to this kind of 4 options.
So if I had known about the KDB injury and not done the early transfer, I probably would not have transferred a Leicester asset in. I probably would have stuck to Gundogan.
Right.
That is probably what I would have done. The thing about Gundogan, what I've understood is that Gundogan plays best when he's not playing in the team with a recognized striker, because the amount of shots in the box which he had on the preceding game weeks, etc., coincided with City not playing a recognized striker. They were playing Torres, they were playing Sterling. So those are the type of spaces that Gundogan got some opportunity to occupy. But with Jesus, or now that Aguero is fit again, FPL managers, Aguero is fit again, red alert. So
yeah, let him come back to the training first.
Anyway, let's not get into that. So with a recognized striker, I think Gundogan tends to play a bit more deeper. So as a central midfielder or something like that. So if Sterling is playing at the center forward or someone else other than Jesus, I think Gundogan gets the opportunity to get more forward. But if Jesus or Aguero plays, that is not the case. So before captaining him or playing him, that is something you might want to look out or consider.
Right.
Moving on to Ziyech again, আমি একটু আগে যেটা বলছি সেটা হচ্ছে গিয়ে regarding the Chelsea picks or who to pick regarding the Chelsea attacking lineup. Really see or observe Chelsea for some games to understand what Tuchel's thinking is or who his preferred first 11 is. I don't think we still have a grip on that right now. Nothing is obvious, which is stated by the obvious thing with Chilwell. যারা Chilwell এই weekend নিছেন এবং গালে থাপ্পড়টা খাইছেন, এটা নিয়ে আর কি আপনারা কেউ মন খারাপ করেন না, কারণ গালে থাপ্পড় আমরা কম বেশি সবাই কম না কম খাইছি, সবাই ম্যান সিটি অ্যাসেস্ট নিছি কোনো না কোনো সময়, এক এক করে হচ্ছে গিয়ে সবাইকেই চড় মারছে। এবং যাই হোক, আই হোপ পেপের পরিচিত বা আত্মীয় স্বজন কেউ FPL মানে খেলে না, আই রিয়েলি সিনসিয়ারলি হোপ, কারণ আমরা যে গালিটা তোকে না দিতে পারি হয়তো ওর আত্মীয় স্বজন হয়তো দিবে
না, খেললে হয়তো অ্যাটলিস্ট গালিগালাজ করতো, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপের মধ্যে গালিগালাজ করতো, ঠিক আছে, বন্ধু বান্ধব তো ডেফিনেটলি।
আপনি চিন্তা করেন পেপ কতগুলা ম্যাচ, পেপ ওভার দ্য লাস্ট ফিউ সিজনস কতগুলা ম্যাচ 59th মিনিটে একটা প্লেয়ারে উঠাইছে,
আনকাউন্টেবল।
মানে এটা সে কেন করে? I don't know if he has a মানে thing about FPL or not. Anyway, moving on. Talisman is a player that has been going under the radar. আমাদের we have a mini league আমাদের অফিস কলিগস এর মধ্যে, ওটার মধ্যে the top player who had it or the ex-top player, now he's second I think, had Talisman in the double game week. But Talisman is a player that always goes under the radar. He plays every game. He's a typical box-to-box midfielder. He's the preferred choice on penalties, I think, now with Vardy gone. So he's a very good differential provided you can consider him. Then Rafinha, people who does not have Bamford, I don't know how much percentage that is. So Rafinha is an excellent alternative. Always gets into crossing positions or attacking positions. He's always in the D box, plays on the right of a 4-1-4-1 formation. So Rafinha last কয়েকটা গেমে আমরা দেখছি যে was very attacking, was very inside the box, etc. He had 2 assists and this is clear chances, right?
Yeah.
So clear chances was 3, which he easily could have put on. Lookman, আমাদের হোস্টের একটা পার্সোনাল ফেভারিট। লুকম্যানকে সে নিজের বাচ্চার মতো দেখে আর কি, তার নিজের ছেলের মতো। So Fulham's assets, I have not invested in them this season. But if you're looking for a bench fodder, but you're looking for someone on the bench, Lookman is a very good choice. Bernardo Silva, well, Bernardo Silva is a bit of an enigma regarding, he had a very good first season in Fantasy Premier League. Then I think he got a bit under the radar regarding his performances because of his rotational issues. Bernardo Silva, I think rotational issues still থাকবে. Asif took him, right?
Right.
So that was a bold move on his behalf.
Yeah, that's why he's top of the league.
He's top of a league, and knowing Asif, he isn't really a bold move guy. He's not really a move guy. He's not as safe as me, but
he's somewhere in between.
Anyway, right. I think he picked Bernardo Silva based on his performances over the last few years rather than recently. Anyway, so Bernardo Silva
I would disagree on that. I think he read the Athletic article about who would occupy KDB's position once KDB got injured. Who would be the chief creative player from City? And this is what আমাদের টুইটার যদি কেউ ফলো করে থাকে, I was also having this conversation with some of the very prominent FPL managers যে আসলে ultimately KDB জায়গাটা কে নিবে, and most of them agreed that it would be Bernardo Silva, that he will take up the creativity role.
I don't think it will be. I wouldn't think it would be Bernardo Silva. It's primarily because what I've seen over the past few seasons, 1 or 2 seasons, is that predominantly when Bernardo Silva plays, he plays on the right. So when he plays on the right, I don't think he is much as effective when he plays down the middle or center, something like that. He's excellent on the ball. He's when he dribbles, the ball is practically glued to his feet. But regarding the end delivery, what makes KDB different from others is his end product.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think Bernardo, at the end of the day, the player that he is regarding the dribbling and the passing, I don't think Bernardo has the end product. Foden, on the other hand, I think Foden does. Regarding the end pass, the shooting, etc., Foden does. But Foden, uh, well, Pep is very hard to guess. So I don't know what Pep's plans on Foden's are. Foden is still being rotated consistently. So we really thought that in the beginning of the season that he would predominantly take the role left vacant by David Silva, but basic, but he did not for some reason. He was still rotated consistently.
This is exactly why I said Bernardo Silva is because when KDB is out এবং KDB যখন এক সিজন না দুই সিজন আগে যখন ইনজুরি হয়েছিল,
Right, long term injury এটা।
yeah, that long time injury তখন কিন্তু
দুই সিজন আগে,
Silva took up his position. So তখন যেটা হয়েছিল তখন of course David Silva ছিল. So David Silva used to play on the right hand side and of course sorry, left hand side, and Bernardo Silva used to play from the left hand side, and of course Mahrez and others were on the front side. So Aguero তখন fit ছিল. So Sterling used to come from the left, and of course Mahrez used to come from the right. Now that there is no David Silva, যেটা ultimately এখন গুন্ডোগান নিয়েছে আর কি জায়গাটা, Bernardo is taking up KDB's position from the left angle. So basically Salah's position is what, of course Mahrez is more attacking. So basically Mahrez takes basically Salah's position যদি কেউ বুঝতে চায়. But just behind Mahrez is where Bernardo Silva is playing. So he's playing more from the, and of course from the center it's always Rodrigo or somebody like Rodri or somebody like Fernandinho যারা ultimately খেলছে. But this is what Sam Lee from the Athletic also suggested, that Bernardo Silva will be the key creative player from that side. But again,
that is what I'm
Gundogan
arguing
will
about.
occupy that space.
Even though he's a very creative midfielder, I don't think at the end of the day Bernardo Silva has that end product, the final pass, the decisive pass.
By no means I'm comparing him to the creative role of KDB, but he's kind of occupying, and of course Pep is a tactical master, so he will change his system. He will.
Right. So at the end of the day, that is why at the end of the day, I don't think Bernardo Silva is still very good replacement for KDB or FPL asset, because at the end of the day, he will be rotated, and this is what happens because if a player like Mahrez, even with his performances, gets rotated or does not get to start a game, there's not much we can argue on that, right?
Exactly. No, well, let's not get into the Pep roulette. I'm not getting into the Pep roulette.
Yeah, right. That's another 5-hour topic anyway.
Exactly.
2 hours of discussion and 3 hours of breaking things.
Exactly, and in the end, it all leads to nothing. You will still see somebody like probably what's that guy's name? Delap probably starting, and then you're like, who the hell is this guy? Anyway, let's move to the next.
He's the son of the best throw-in taker Premier League ever had.
Exactly. That's an interesting fact, by the way. That's an interesting.
Right.
He could throw from God knows from where into the center.
Right. His throws were legendary. Anyway, moving on to then Traore, El Ghazi now suddenly is not the first choice anymore. He's been benched a couple of times over the last few matches. Traore, on the other hand, has been starting, and I think Traore is a very good shout if you want to have a differential from the Villa squad, because Villa has been playing excellent. They have been keeping clean sheets, and at the same time they've been scoring goals. But if you have the budget, of course, there is no substitute for Grealish. I think Grealish has been having the season of his life. Why did I don't understand. I still don't understand why it took Maddison over Grealish. Finally, Hudson-Odoi, again a Chelsea asset. Hudson-Odoi over the last 2 game weeks has been playing at the right wing back. So right wing back is a position I don't think he has occupied before. It's new to him. From a personal point of view, this is a personal opinion. I still think the right wing back position is best suited to James because he's a better crosser. Right wing backs tend to be good crossers of the ball uh, rather than dribblers. And Hudson-Odoi is a dribbler rather than a crosser, I think. But again, for Chelsea assets, I think it's better you put them under observation sometime. Put them under observation sometime and see what Tuchel's first choice 11 are before investing in them.
I have a point to say about Hudson-Odoi, and I'll tell you about an incident that happened. So গতদিন যখন Chelsea was playing against Burnley, one of the best thing about not having fans in the stadium is because you can listen to a lot of conversation as to what people are saying, right, to each other,
Right.
when the coach
Right.
is shouting and whatever they're saying.
Basically the shouts, etc.
Exactly. So I could hear basically when the game was going on, what happened is I could hear Sean Dyche shouting to Robbie Brady, saying, "Hey, Robbie, tune in, tune in, tune in." You know, he was keeping on shouting, "Robbie, tune in, tune in, tune in." And then Robbie suddenly turned back and he's like, "There's nothing much I can do. I just can't stop him." That's what you could clearly hear about Hudson-Odoi. So that just goes to show how good Hudson-Odoi was actually in that game. And of course, he got
Right. No, Hudson-Odoi always had excellent dribbling skills. So I'm more concerned about his final delivery because what we have seen recently is that people who play three at the back with wing back system, the uh, wing backs are usually great crossers of the ball. So regarding the crossing ability, it's a personal opinion, obviously. The crossing ability, I think James is the better crosser out of the
definitely,
two.
definitely no. When it comes to crosses, I think Reece James is outstanding in this game.
Because other managers who play the wing back system, such as we have seen that for Spurs, Aurier. Obviously, for some time in the past, we've seen sometimes, although rarely, we've seen Liverpool do it. We've seen United do it, although Bisaka is okay. I won't say he's excellent, but he's okay in the final third. So in other matches, in other previous seasons, we used to see Aspilicueta do it. So I think in the wing back system, you need a good crosser.
True, true. Anyway, let's move to the next section. We have crossed the 1 hour mark already. So let's move to the next section and we'll do, and of course, this is a different pod because it's a different game week. We're talking about differentials and it's only two of us talking. So it's everything different about this whole Footalochona that we are doing. So yeah, enjoy it until it's last. Differential forwards, of course.
Right.
I'll take.
We're sometimes forgetting that this is even recording.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, sometimes we do forget. It's just like a conversation. But that's the fun part of FPL, right? Like when you start
Right.
talking about it, you can just go on about hours. So anyway, Ings. So for Ings, I don't know why he's still 9.7%. Probably because of the injury.
Yes, because of the fitness.
Yeah, because of the fitness. So finally, গত সিজনে আমরা যেটা বলছিলাম আর কি যে সে আলটিমেটলি তার ফিটনেসের কারণে যে কোনো মুহূর্তে ইনজুরি হবে, নিয়েন না ভাই, নিয়েন না, সে গোল দিবে না, এত গোল দিতে পারবে না। সো আলটিমেটলি সে পুরো সিজনে কোনো ইনজুরি হয় নাই, গোলও দিছে প্রায় 20টা। সো আলটিমেটলি উই আর অল লুজার্স। এন্ড দিস সিজন যখন আমরা একটু হোপফুল হয়েছিলাম যে না এবার ইংসকে নিতেই হবে, হি হ্যাজ ফাইনালি শোড হিজ ট্রু কালার, রাইট?
Right.
Right. So in a season,
Ings is someone that, provided he can stay fit, will always score goals.
exactly,
He's
exactly.
that good of a striker.
Right, right. So last 6 matches, Ings, of course, দুইটা big chances created, of course, 10 shots on, and of course 6 on.
I think he had a goal ruled out last match as well.
Exactly. And I think that was a kind of a bonus for a lot of Aston Villa people with Martinez owners and stuff like that. So that's good.
And a lot of people who took DCL instead of Ings too.
Yeah, I was one of them. I was kind of looking forward to seeing Ings getting recovery from the whole COVID situation. কারণ কোভিড থেকে অনেক সময় দেখা যায় যে ফিটনেস ঠিকই গেইন করছে, বাট সামহাউ you still don't
You
really.
know, this is, you know what this is? This is us managers overthinking stuffs.
Precisely the point. No, that's true. Precisely the point. আমরা আসলে মাঝে মাঝে একটু অতিমাত্রায় চিন্তা করি, so sometimes it's very easy to play
না আসছে, ওর মন মানসিকতা কেমন হবে, ওর হয়তো খেলার মন বসবে না খেলায়, আসলে এই হইছে ওই
শরীর
হইছে,
যাবে কিনা, হ্যাঁ
শরীর যাবে কিনা, গায়ে গতরে ব্যথা কিনা, মানে
এক্স্যাক্টলি, এখনো
30
কি
মিনিট
কোভিড এর
খেললে,
ইমপ্যাক্ট
আরে
আছে
ভাই
কিনা।
ভাই এগুলো প্রফেশনাল ফুটবলার রে ভাই, দে ডু দিস ফর আ লিভিং।
And that's what we keep forgetting. That's what happens. এই ধরনের কথাবার্তা কিন্তু আলটিমেটলি তোমার ইয়ের সময় হয় যে যখন প্লেয়াররা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল খেলতে যায়, ঠিক আছে, and they will come back and then people will be like, oh, he won't play, he's coming back very.
লম্বা ফ্লাইট থেকে আসছে ভাই, আপনি লম্বা ফ্লাইট থেকে এসে আপনার গা ছেড়ে দেয় না, চিন্তা করে লম্বা ফ্লাইট থেকে এসে আপনার গাড়ি গা ছেড়ে দেয়, ওর কেন ছেড়ে দিবে না? আরে ভাই
এক্স্যাক্টলি, পার্থক্য একটা জায়গায়, he comes in a first class, you come in a economy class, ঠিক আছে, that's the difference. So anyway, so Ings is that. I think it's still a very good option. এবং যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত সে ফিট আছে, so I think we should still look at it. And of course, Southampton is doing very well, so nothing to say about that. Lacazette is the another one. Consistent.
do you have DCL?
Sorry?
Do you have DCL?
Yes, I transferred him in last game week. Transferred out Bamford.
Okay. Do you still regret taking DCL over Ings?
I'm not sure. I am still not sure. Because আমার কাছে আমি একটা কারণ বলি, কারণ আমি হলো এই প্রথম এই সিজনে ডিসিএল কে নিয়েছি, as you know, right? This is the first time I'm picking DCL up.
কারণ আপনি টেমপ্লেট টিমস নেবেন না,
আমি টেমপ্লেট টিম নিব না, but this is the first time I picked him up only because আমি গতবার যেটা মিস করছিলাম যে সিজন শুরুতে, I don't want to miss on that, and I think that opportunity is still there. Fixture ভালো, সব প্লেয়াররা আসছে, তুমি অলরেডি বললে সেটা, ক্রসেস আসছে, Dinia is playing again, Rodriguez is back again, Richarlison is looking sharp, so আমার মনে হয় he'll still get that one touch in that kind of things that we were always talking about, or you know, so I'm hopeful, but আবার সুইচ করা যেতেই পারে, we have plenty, আমরা এখন সবাই বড় লোক আসলে, ঠিক আছে, so that's the, এটা মাথায় রাখতে হবে, আমরা এখন সবাই বড় লোক, প্রচুর টাকা, এখন আসলে আমাদের ব্যাংকারদের খোঁজা উচিত।
আমার 3টা স্ট্রাইকার 5টা মিডফিল্ডার ভাই, আমি কারে বসাবো, আই হ্যাভ নো ক্লু।
আমার গত ম্যাচের আগে আমার ব্যাংকে 11 মিলিয়ন ছিল।
I am subconsciously, this is my subconscious thinking, not my conscious thinking. I'm subconsciously hoping someone will get injured and make the decision easier for me.
Right. No, that's what happened. I mean, আমি যখন নিজে গুন্ডগানকে নিলাম, then I had 11 million in my bank, and I just didn't know, like, holy smoke, 11 million in my bank. What do I do? So আমি টুইটারে তখন দুষ্টামি করতেছিলাম যে, like, you know, is there any bank that provides high interest? I would like to invest some money. You know, so that's the kind of situation where all FPL managers find themselves right now. ভাগ্য ভালো সালা এই ম্যাচে 2টা গোল দিয়েছে, নাহলে people would be selling Salah, and we would probably have 20 million around left in our bank. Nothing to do, because কারণ differential হলো সবগুলোরই দাম কম. So anyway, Lacazette, he's been constantly performing. 4টা গোল, একটা assist over the last 6 game weeks, 10 shots on target, 12 goal attempts, 9 on target, of course, 9 from inside the box, 6 chances created. Aubameyang is absent. He's playing very central. And of course, Arsenal revival. But yet, he's just 8.7% selected by. কেন জানি আমি কখনোই লাকাজেটকে আসলে FPL প্লেয়ার হিসেবে কনসিডার করি না, somehow. Every season, it's the same old story.
Well, it has its reasons, right? Because over the last few seasons, what you've seen, Lacazette was, well, on occasions was rotated. Either when Lacazette played, Aubameyang was played on the left, or either way, Aubameyang was played centrally, someone else played on the left. So he did not have a guarantee of starting games. And because of a recent resurgence of Arsenal, I think Arsenal's ভালো performance গুলা to some extent has been overlooked by people, and the focus has been more to their cheaper assets like Saka or Smith Rowe or something like that, rather than Lacazette.
Holding.
Because Lacazette is not, what we call is cheaply priced or something like that. He is above average priced.
Right.
So people I think are considering that before taking him in, because they're thinking that the form itself is a fluke, or maybe he can money better spent elsewhere in Saka or Smith Rowe.
Yeah, that's again overthinking on our part, huh?
It is.
Overthinking. Anyway, Adams. Well, I have nothing else to say about Adams. I somehow কেন জানি তার সাথে আমার সম্পর্কটা জমতেছে না এই সিজনে, which is very sad. যখনই সেকেন্ড টাইম নিয়েছিলাম তো, সেকেন্ড ডাবল গেম উইকের আগে, and then he lost his double game week. Southampton lost that Leeds game, so I had to send him out. But anyway, তিনটা গেম উইকের জন্য ছিল, সে আলটিমেটলি ওয়াইল্ড কার্ডে নিয়েছিলাম আমি তাকে, গেম উইক 16 এ ওয়াইল্ড কার্ড যখন খেলছিলাম, and he ended up doing nothing. Hit the bar, hit the goal post, hit the goalkeeper, did everything right except to score a goal or assist. But anyway, Richarlison, আমার মনে সাপ্লাই লাইনটা যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত ঠিক থাকবে, আই থিঙ্ক হি ইজ স্টিল আ গুড অপশন। এখন পর্যন্ত তার এই সিজনে আমরা ওই ধরনের দুর্দান্ত পারফরমেন্স যেটা আমরা সাধারণত তার কাছ থেকে দেখে থাকি, একটা দুইটা ম্যাচে হঠাৎ করে সে খুব জ্বলে খেলবে।
I'm a bit, well, it's a personal opinion again, but I'm a bit disappointed in Richarlison.
Yeah, me too.
Because look at the stats. He has played 15 matches and only 1 goal to show for it.
Exactly.
So playing that much up front, I think it's a very disappointing stat, and I still think he's been getting the chances. Like initially, if you have followed the matches for Everton in the beginning of the season, we have seen that Rodriguez usually looks for Richarlison to make the runs. So Richarlison had been getting the chances, but he has not been very clinical enough. So I think this has been some part of a disappointing season so far, and the price tag certainly does not justify it.
Well, you talk about disappointment. Let me tell you, as an owner, কারণ আমার ছিল রিচার্লিসন, so I know exactly how disappointed I was. So আমার একটা গেম উইকে ছিল রিচার্লিসন and Rodriguez, and যেটা তুমি বললা যে Rodriguez was looking for Richarlison to pass the ball. So Rodriguez pass দিল, Richarlison ultimately went and then scored. তারপরে সেটা ultimately VAR checked, okay, offside.
Only one thing is what goes for him rather than against him. I think he's still the first choice on penalties. Oh no, right. It's Sigurdsson. It's Sigurdsson
now. No,
forgot about Sigurdsson.
Yeah, it's Sigurdsson. So আমার জন্য যেটা হয়েছিল যে Rodriguez Richarlison pass and Richarlison scores, VAR checks and it's offside. Okay, হলো না, ঠিক আছে, no problem. There will be another opportunity. একই ম্যাচে Richarlison passes to Rodriguez scores, VAR check, again offside. Okay, and then again Rodriguez passes to Richarlison shoots, hits the bar, and no goal. In the end, he gets 2 points.
Right. So, কয়েকদিন আগে আমি আপনাকে আমাদের ইন্টারনাল গ্রুপে আছে, আমি একটা স্ক্রিনশট আপনাকে দিছিলাম, রাইট? মানে একটা ওই খেলা, আমি ঘুমায় গেছিলাম, ওই ঘুমায় গিয়ে আমি ঘুম থেকে উঠে দেখি যে আমার নোটিফিকেশন আসছে 2 goals. সন স্কোরড আ গোল, সালা স্কোরড আ গোল। আমি খুশি হয়ে গেছি, সন স্কোরড আ গোল, সালা স্কোরড আ গোল, আমাকে আর কে পায়? আমি গিয়ে দেখি যে নো গোল, বাট আমার তো নোটিফিকেশন আসছে গোল, দেখি নো গোল। 2টা গোল দিচ্ছে, 2টাই হচ্ছে গিয়ে ক্যান্সেল, VAR ক্যান্সেল। তো আমি মনে হলো যে আমি কি এটা স্বপ্নে দেখছি, আমি নোটিফিকেশন পাইছি, আমি কি রাতে স্বপ্ন দেখছি, এটা কি স্বপ্ন ছিল? না, এটা VAR ক্যান্সেল। VAR is really something else.
না, আমার জন্য এই সিজনটা আসলে it's been a little bit difficult, কারণ আমার জন্য দুইটা জিনিস খুবই হ্যাম্পার করছে। One is VAR, and if you take the V and put a B over there, the another one is bar. So I don't know how many times I have missed out on
bar was there every season. ওটা নিয়ে তো আসলে কারো খুব একটা কিছু বলার নাই।
এই সিজনে it's been just too many. ঠিক আছে, I can give you so many examples. Like I already told you 3, I can tell you how many. তুমি জানতা যে আমার স্টার্লিং ছিল, so you saw how many times Sterling hit the bar. Okay, সেদিন আমি অ্যান্টোনিও নিলাম, অ্যান্টোনিও hit the bar thrice. How many do you want? I took Grealish once. He hit the bar.
Anthony had I did not follow the game, but Anthony had a decent game against Liverpool, right?
Yeah, he had a decent game against Liverpool. Yeah, he played well. ও আর একটু বেশি সুবিধা করতে পারতো যদি বলগুলো ওর পায়ের মধ্যে আটকায় না যেত. He was running with the ball, but somehow the ball got stuck in his leg. So he wasn't able to really run with that free flowing, usually the one that we see from him. But anyway, the last one, of course, Cavani. Beside the rotation and with Anthony Martial form, I think he's going to. He's 35 years old, so Ole is always kind of a little bit একটু দুশ্চিন্তার মধ্যে ফেলা যায় আর কি, যে না ওকে আমরা একটু সাবধানে রাখতে হবে, ওইলা একটু আমাদের মতো FPL ম্যানেজার থেকে আসলে একটু নার্ভাস করে ফেলে. So I'm not sure.
But Ole lacks options right now,
right.
Because of Martial's form, Cavani's fitness, and etc. The only other guy who can play up front is probably Rashford. Although we saw that playing centrally is not probably Rashford's best position. And then there's Greenwood, who's a bit of an on and off form over the season. So
yeah. If only Cavani was nailed. Or if Cavani was,
I think if he was a bit younger, he would be. If he was a bit younger, he would be. But I think because of the situation, Ole tends to not overplay him or manage his minutes, not to do himself long-term injury or whatsoever.
Right. Anyway, so that's all the differential players that we could think of, which we think is like kind of people that people could consider, FPL managers could consider. And these are very good options. And of course, as I said, যেটা আমরা hot topic এ বললাম যে like it's time to get off the template, because Bruno is not delivering, Salah didn't deliver so far, Son is not
right. We don't think there is a template anymore because of the injuries to Kane and De Bruyne.
Right, exactly.
Kane and De Bruyne, frees up a lot of funds, and when you have a lot of funds, you tend to pick
Also
different.
Also, Vardy is injured. So.
Oh yes, there's also Vardy. So it frees up a lot of funds.
So yeah, with all the major players either not performing or they're injured, I think the opportunity is kind of right to pick one or two differentials and then take a little bit of risk, calculated risk. And if that pays off, your rank could see a swing. So আমার মতো ম্যানেজার যারা still around somewhere around 800,000 around, I think it's time for me at least. আমার জন্য এটা perfect scenario, to be honest. আমি সবসময় new differential খেলি, and I think now the scenario kind of suits me more. So maybe I might just do well a little bit over the next game week. Let's see where I land up. But anyway, let's go to the captain's options for game week 21, and which will be the last topic, of course. So Ashfaq, let's take the captaincy options. Sorry.
So captaincy niye ashole it will be our last topic this session. So captaincy, usually we go for the more safe picks, because captaincy differentials আমরা discuss করছি. So captaincy will be a bit of a more safer picks. First of all, moving on to Salah. Although Salah had a bit of a drought recently, he still had been getting the chances to score goals. I think he had been a bit unlucky. So FPL managers who actually saw him play was not deterred, kept him on, and the smart managers actually captained him this week. I was unsmart. I captained Gundogan. So
am I.
Although I probably should be grateful for the 3-2 6 points I got, other than people who captained Sterling or Chancellor instead. Anyway, different topic altogether. So Salah, I think this week, if you look at the stats, will be probably the most most popular captaincy pick because of his opponents, Brighton. And Salah is playing at home too, so that goes for him. Salah is always stronger at home than he's at away. And with Mane's injured, I don't think he has a risk of rotation as well. Then the usual pick, Fernandes. Fernandes has a bit of an off form recently. He still had been getting the chances, but he has not been clinical enough, I think. I saw the game against Arsenal and United, so he's still been getting into good places. He's moving forward, he's getting the passes, but the final delivery or the final shot or the final pass is something I think he has been a bit unlucky on. Fernandes is playing Southampton. Southampton is again a tricky opponent, but with Kyle Walker-Peters injured, maybe they might be a bit depleted. Either way, Fernandes is playing at home. We all know Fernandes is more strong away than home, but because he is having a bit of a slump, I think this might be one of the games that he might actually come back into the game and get some points. Jack Grealish has been having the form of his life. You can just look at that by his FPL goal involvements over the past few game weeks, which is 57.1%. When after he moved more centrally from his wing position, he's been creating a fantastic amount of chances. I think he right now is one of the most creative midfielders in FPL right now that KDB is not in the picture anymore. এটাও একটু দেখতে হবে যে you might note that Grealish's fixtures up until game week 30 is still excellent. So he has the fixtures, he's nailed on. He has one of fixtures still more to play. So Grealish, I think if you still do not have him, it's an easy pick. Is an easy pick. You don't have to consider that much. Wilson, আমি লাস্ট খেলাটা এগেনস্ট এভারটন আমি খেলাটা পার্সোনালি দেখছি, not because of Wilson, because I had high hopes on DCL and I wanted to see how Dini and Rodriguez teams up and if Everton is back to their own form. Wilson actually was excellent. He could have had more goals than his two. He could have actually had 3 or 4 goals. He produced a wonderful save from Pickford in the first half from a header. He also had another chance which was blocked. So Wilson, I think, given their fixture against Palace, I think Palace is a very weak opposition in terms of defense. Also, Palace is playing away. এটা আমি এই সেশনের শুরুতে বললাম যে since last game that Newcastle has moved from their traditional back 5 to a back 4, which means they are playing more attackingly with Fraser and Albiron running around and giving Wilson the delivery he needs. So I think this might be a very good opportunity for Wilson to get some more goal involvements as well. And we all know that in the reverse fixture, I think Wilson got 1 goal and 1 assist, total of 12 points. One other captaincy option which I want to discuss, which is not in the slide here, is Sterling. Sterling has been benched the last game, so I think we can say with a fair, not exact, a fair amount of certainty that Sterling will start the next game. And City is usually very, very unforgiving with Burnley, which you have seen in recent games. So I think Sterling will play, because he's well rested, he'll give some good points. So he's a good captaincy option as well. So moving on to the statistics. So সালার যদি আমরা দেখি again, আমরা দেখবো যে এখানে সালার হোম অ্যাটাকিং হচ্ছে গিয়ে এখানে 8টা away 11টা, which is a bit unlike Salah from his previous seasons. But given his 2 goals in his last games, I think we can safely say that Salah is back to his best. Again, I think Salah will be the most popular captaincy pick this week. Fernandes, again, just look at the difference between his home games and away game records. You'll see that away records is significantly better than the home records.
And
So
this is
Salah is
despite him missing the last 3 or 4 away games, not being able to contribute anything.
right. So the difference is huge. But like I said, that because he had a bit of a drought, um, this might be the game he finally can put some attacking returns on. But then again, if you have both Salah and Fernandes, I think out of those two, Salah would be the better choice.
Exactly.
Jack Grealish, again, look at the stats. His number of assists, 11 assists so far, 6 goals. He has been offering a fantastic amount of chances. If it was for a bigger team, I think he would have had much more bigger returns, because the amount of chances he's been creating, someone called Watkins has not been able to put them away.
True.
So Jack Grealish, with his form, I think is cannot be ignored. If you do not have Grealish, get Grealish in now. He has excellent fixtures up until game week 30, and also, although he's playing West Ham, like Nadim Bhai said, I think it will be a cagey affair. It can go either way. But with Grealish's form, I don't think he needs the fixtures to put in a good performance. So he can be a good option as well. Wilson, again, finally যেটা সেটা হচ্ছে গিয়ে যে if Newcastle keeps their 4 at the back lineup intact, Wilson will again get some attacking returns, because Palace has been shown to be very weak defensively, and Palace is away this week. The return fixture, Wilson got some very good points, 12 points in fact. So this is a very good chance for Wilson to get some return points.
Right.
So
whom are you captaining? If I have to ask.
I will probably captain Salah, but I've been looking at the return fixture against Brighton. I saw that Salah put up an assist, I think, in that game.
Right.
So I'm still considering Salah because of all of the assets I have. I think Salah is the safest choice. Gundogan was an option because I think City will have a high scoring game. I think City will put 3 or 4 past Burnley, with Pope making 30 or 40 saves, something like that. But with the consideration of Jesus starting again, so I'm not very confident on getting good points out of Gundogan right now, because Gundogan, whenever Jesus or a recognized striker plays, Gundogan plays deeper. So right now, I think with all the assets I have, Salah is the obvious choice.
Now, here is a tactical question I'll ask you. Was it because Sterling was benched and Jesus played that, or is it that Jesus is now going to be a regular starter?
Well, you never know. The thing about City's squad is that although they have the quality, the squad is very thin. Thin as in City has around, from what I can say, probably 19 to 20 players, maybe 19 outfield players, if I'm correct. So সেদিক থেকে যদি চিন্তা করেন যে because it's a long season, they will have Champions League fixtures coming up. They will have cup games coming up.
Right.
So because they have a thin squad, because at some point in the beginning of the season, City had around 13 to 14 fit players, I think, and they played games with 13 to 14 fit players. So when you have such a thin squad, rotation is inevitable, because you want to keep your best players, match fit, or not to aggravate a more serious injury. Well, Pep is a rotation nightmare for all FPL managers, etc. But regarding the Jesus thing, it's very unpredictable, because what we've seen is that Pep has found alternatives to the Jesus or the Aguero situation. He has played Sterling there. He has played Torres there. He has played Gundogan as a false 9. So he has options, and even though they were not the best City attacks we saw, we have not seen the fluid City play in those games. City still came away with the wins. City are still managing, 1-0 or 2-0 wins, KG wins. So these types of wins are what actually makes a team ultimately get the title. So I
Right.
think that's what matters. So even though Jesus is currently the only recognized striker, there is no guarantee of Jesus starting every other game.
Right.
That's what it is.
All right. So I think it's been a long pod and we have covered a lot and we have done it a little bit different the way we usually do it. So it's been any other things that we missed out? Anything that you want to touch upon? Any last point?
Uh, Not so much. Just that I don't know. I don't think that all the news conferences are right in. So
No.
you should consider making transfers because there is still the COVID variable and other variables currently in FPL. So you should make your transfers as late as possible. Watch out for the press conferences and wait till the last minute to make a transfer because you might have different news about a certain player at the last minute.
Right. Unfortunately, we are not able to do the press conferences because it will be way too late. So আমরা আসলে করতে পারছি না. But anyway, we'll try to keep it up to date on our Facebook page. So of course, do follow that FPL managers. So Ashfaq, thank you so much, and it's been pleasure talking to you, of course, and discussing all things about FPL. And this has been a different Footalochona. Of course, we covered a lot of differential players, and we kind of looked into in-depth tactical and FPL point of view and everything and stats and of course. But yeah, it's been a good discussion and thoroughly enjoyed it. And of course, time flew, and it's already 1.5 hours since we started, and we are still talking, and we can go on again. But anyway, we will not keep it any longer anymore. But thank you so much for joining, and of course, we'll be back again, FPL managers, this week on Thursday, most likely, with our Game Week 23 coverage. But until then, take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.